Good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. Thank you for joining us. My name is Ray Batra. I am the CEO and founder at ShiftUp, and I'm joined today in partnership with Parker Dewey, led by Jeffrey Moss. And we're going to go ahead and just start off with some brief intros, and then we'll get right into the meat of it. So I guess I will start. Just for those of you who don't know me, pleasure to meet you through this webinar. I, as mentioned, CEO at ShiftUp. Basically, my background, over a decade or so, active in the sort of adult learning, higher education, ed tech communities, looking to basically rebuild job training from the ground up in a lot of ways. That's included work in Silicon Valley, a number of venture-backed companies, as well as on the government side, as well as working at universities and on the ground as a teacher as well, substitute teacher. And then Jeffrey, if you want to go ahead and say a few words for yourself.
Sure. So excited to be here today. So I'm Jeffrey. I am the founder and CEO of Parker Dewey. My background is actually as an investor in education and technology, and founded Parker Dewey really 7 years ago to help improve the transition from work or from training programs to workforce. We found that so many individuals who are launching their careers or relaunching their careers have challenges, especially if they don't go to the quote unquote right school, have the right family connections, academic pedigree. And to address this, we created this concept of the micro-internship. I'm really excited to work with Ray and the entire ShiftUp team on just what's one of the most innovative workforce programs in the country right now, really creating this equitable pathways that create a win-win. I mean, they obviously support communities, but they're also supporting the learners who are looking to upskill, to develop new skills, whether it's in cybersecurity, whether it's in application development, project management, all of these skills that are really high potential. And at the same way, really creating opportunities for companies. One of the things I love so much about this program that we're going to talk about is that the training and the education that ShiftUp is providing as part of this are focused on those roles with literally millions of openings, where companies are struggling to identify and hire great talent. This program is going to help. So as we walk through this, again, Parker Dewey, as I said, really helps connect great talent with companies through the use of micro-internships. We've historically been focused on the college to career model and college to career transition, but we're seeing more and more opportunities, again, through programs like this to support those learners where a traditional four-year degree may not have made the most sense, or learners who might be later in their career and were impacted by any number of things and they're looking to upskill, again, through programs like Ray's. Ray, I'll let you dig into ShiftUp.
Absolutely. And thanks, everybody. I just wanted to flip ahead here for one slide as Jeffrey was talking about Parker Dewey. Again, Parker Dewey is focused on connecting great talent to great companies through micro-internships. And a bit about ShiftUp for those of you who are not familiar. ShiftUp in general, right? We are a modern training provider. We basically provide skills training, jobs training, and we're doing that by combining flexible online programs. Right? Think programs like LinkedIn Learning or Coursera or edX or other flexible platforms with one-on-one professional support for learners that ultimately maximize their outcomes and their skills that they learn. So in a nutshell, right, ShiftUp is sort of, think of it as really a synthesis between what's been going on in education with online education, combined with the reality that most people really need some deep support. They don't just do self-paced programs by themselves and succeed. They're very, very rare. It's a very, very rare bird who are able to push through it just by themselves. So what we created was something we called a learning gym model, a training support model, which basically takes these platforms and we bundle them up with a ton of wraparound services, things like one-on-one mentorship, success coaching, study groups, tutoring, community, Parker Dewey micro-internships. They're a core component of this. And then finally, employment connections. So that's just a brief overview for you, so you have some context before we move into, why are you all here as employers, right? You're here because we have a really incredible opportunity coming up as a pilot for a much, much larger scale opportunity as well nationally down the road. And so this pilot that we are running in New Jersey is for 300 local and remote candidates in in-demand fields. So this offers you honestly two really great opportunities that frankly are pretty no-brainer opportunities. They're just they're at no cost to employers, with a new talent pipeline as well as upskilling opportunities. So these are across IT Helpdesk, cybersecurity, project management, and data analytics. And so to be crystal clear on this, we'll go into more detail in future slides as to what counts for eligibility for these free upskilling opportunities. But again, this is 300 candidates over the next 12 months, no cost to employers. And this is in partnership and sort of combined with the National Association of Workforce Boards, which is a government association that represents all the job training agencies across basically the US. So they have partnered with ShiftUp to provide these services, and we are in turn partnering with Parker Dewey. So just want to be clear on a few things. For IT Helpdesk, these are roles such as support specialists, right? Helpdesk technicians, IT associates, IT support engineers. The graduates will be coming out with the CompTIA A+ certification. For cybersecurity, they will already have had at least 6 months of helpdesk experience, work experience, or they will have previously sort of had as well either the prior helpdesk experience, or they will have come in with a background already having completed courses in sort of hardware fundamentals and networking fundamentals, in addition to their CompTIA Security Plus certification. So these are roles like SOC analysts, SOC engineers, information security engineers, network security associates, those types of positions. For project management, we're looking at the Project Management Institution, the CAPM certification, which would be, of course, for those who are more entry level without any prior experience, and then the PMP certification for those that do have some experience if they're looking to upskill. And so these are positions that might be, for example, project coordinators or project assistants, junior project managers, project specialists, along those lines. For data analytics, right, we're looking at, we have an asterisk here because there is the possibility for some level of customization. If there's other specific certifications you're looking for, please do reach out. But one sort of as a default we're looking at is a SAS certification, and this is the certified specialist for base programming. But in addition to that, we're preparing individuals for data analyst roles, associate, junior data analyst, business analyst, positions along those lines. Want to be clear again, there's no catch here. The business model does not rely on payments from employers. So we do have the government sponsoring these opportunities. So we will talk about that more in a little bit. Yep.
And when you say no payments from employers, just to be clear, that's no payment for the training, no payment for the recruitment, no paying for any of it, even if it turns into a full-time hire. So this is not a staffing firm model where all of a sudden there's a catch at the 11th hour. Again, back to the innovation of the workforce programs.
That's correct. Many employers, you can kind of think of us ShiftUp as a little bit of an intermediary, your partner, your friend, to help figure out how to navigate the massive amount of government investment that does go into job training. We're here, think of us as our work is essentially to help modernize their training, to make it better, to make it more sort of the appropriate blend of online and one-on-one mentorship. And because there's a vested interest from the government side, they do pick up the full cost of this training. And our goal, of course, is to connect closely with employers throughout this process and make sure we can deliver exactly what you need. And I will also make clear that this is a pilot, meaning that for those of you who are coming from companies who are at much larger size organizations, we are in contact at the moment with a large number of these agencies for similar projects all around the country. This system that the National Association of Workforce Board touches, they touch over 10 million unemployed and underemployed Americans every year. So there is a lot of potential to grow and to be able to support you with your needs across a wide variety of areas. This is just a start. We eventually expect to support a wide array of skill areas.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons this is going to be so successful is the fact that you're providing those wraparound services through the Learning Gym. It's not just putting people into content and subsidizing the cost of the curriculum, which we know has questionable efficacy. with regard to completion rate, et cetera. It's really all about the learning gym and those wraparound to ensure those students and those learners are ready, but ultimately driving the impact that the workforce boards are so excited about, i.e. getting people full-time roles and supporting the employers.
Yep, and we're going to talk about that absolutely just after this in the next slide. Although I thank you, I do appreciate you pointing that out as well for everybody on the call. If you are thinking here, what exactly do we mean by upskilling opportunities into the new talent pipeline? So the new talent pipeline, you don't have to do much at all. We will be able to send you, candidates as they're ready. There's some pieces we'll talk about later in the slides. For the upskilling, what this means is that if you at your company, let's say you have 10, 20, 50, 100 IT help desk specialists, for example, who may not yet have their CompTIA A+, and you'd like them to, or you'd like to move them and upskill them into cybersecurity roles, which have a really high value for you. We can do that. We provide that for you at no cost to you. Same thing with project management. If you'd like to ensure that some of your individuals can skill up and get their certs, or data analytics, same sort of thing. So that's what we're going to talk about in more detail here. So what is the experience like for your learners if you decide to pursue an upskilling opportunity with us? Well, this is, again, what we call a learning gym, which kind of pays homage to our early days at ShiftUp when we actually had physical spaces pre-COVID. And we provided a learning gym where you go work out, but basically for your mind. And you had tutors, and you had community and those sorts of things. We have translated that online today. And so all of this training is 100% virtual, to be clear. And what happens is that in this project, and what ShiftUp does is we start with a flexible learning platform that is usually with our client. And the client in this case is the government agency. And we will be working through LinkedIn Learning. But we have the potential to be able to wrap around other platforms as well, whether it be Coursera or Udemy or other sort of platforms. So we start with a flexible platform. We then provide this super comprehensive, really designed to be as pedagogically sound as possible system. It's basically a student support system. And so we give every learner gets a personal onboarding. They're going to get a call, get set up. We have them then, we match them with a one-on-one mentor from industry, someone who has usually at least 3 years experience, in many cases 5 or 10 years experience, who's going to meet with them once or twice a week as they go through the platform. Every learner will also have a success coach who's checking in with them weekly, making sure that they're staying up to date with their, and they're on track with their study habits, that they are getting additional leadership development and soft skill development along the way. Every learner is also matched with a study partner, a peer study partner. Think about a study buddy. They get weekly group tutoring sessions. Think of it like office hours at college. Every learner also will get a micro-internship through Parker Dewey to be able to have some true application to real world projects, right, from employers, whether your company or on the platform. And these are covered with a paid stipend. And then I guess that is effectively it if you're doing upskilling, because you're obviously within your own company. But for those who are doing talent pipelines from unemployed to getting a job, they will then be introduced to your company or others in our network. And so the result of this, to be clear, is that we're taking completion rates from self-paced platforms, which are on average in the single digits, right? 3% of individuals across platforms are completing these. We take them to 78% and greater. And that is what the ShiftUp wraparound support system does. And then I'm going to hand it off to Jeffrey to give a little bit more detail about micro-internships.
Yeah, so thank you, Ray. And as I said, the program itself and the wraparound around the educational services that ShiftUp does through the Learning Gym is unbelievable. I mean, those metrics are industry leading when it comes to non-traditional educational delivery. So huge kudos to you and your team. With regard to the micro-internships, they are one small part of what Ray and his team are delivering through this program. And again, we have some data. We've included overall data on what we've seen from that transition from the learning program to career. One of the things we've seen is over 80% of students who participate in these paid micro-internships come from underrepresented backgrounds. So the fact that students, the fact that learners are being paid for their work, they're being paid to do those micro-internships while they're completing the ShiftUp program, means they're more accessible, We're not asking the learners to make those tough decisions between paying rent and getting those valuable experiences and demonstrating their skills to you. So again, huge hats off to the government for that and making that funding available for that part, because all too often we'll find individuals who go through programs that are trying to upskill them and help them land that job are forced to make those tough choices. Do I continue to drive my Uber or do my DoorDash delivery or work my hourly job versus doing unpaid work as this way to upskill? And again, huge kudos to Ray and the New Jersey workforce programs for allowing individuals to not have to make that choice, which again, the data shows how it impacts those from underrepresented populations. What we've also found is the cost effectiveness of micro-internships is pretty compelling. That on average, companies spend between $3,500 and $6,900 to hire someone for an entry-level role, whether it's right out of college or whether it's individuals who are relaunching their career or launching their career through non-traditional pathways similar to those who ShiftUp is supporting. We found it leads to 40 to 80% cost savings. Now, in this case, it's even better because there's no cost to you as the employer for any of this, because the state is subsidizing these micro-internships and this program. So instead of it being a 40 to 80% cost savings, it's 100% cost savings. And that ignores the value that those learners are doing from the micro-internships themselves. And then the last thing is the retention. We all know how much we spend going and trying to recruit and hire. What we found is individuals, when they're completing micro-internships, over 98% of them stay at the same organization, at least, I think this number's here, 18 or 24 months. It's been a couple of months since we ran this last, less than 2% attrition. And when you look at some of those job titles that Ray mentioned, you know that's pretty incredible. On average, all new hires, 55% of them leave in the first year. So again, less than 2%. So what are some examples of these micro-internships? If we go to the next slide, we can see a few that we've specifically crafted to align to this incredible ShiftUp program. And again, these aren't hypotheticals. These aren't us just trying to guess what types of projects employers have that would be perfect for these participants, but rather these are based upon 7 years of data of real short-term projects that the individuals can complete. And just to be clear, again, we didn't really dive into what is a micro-internship, because again, a lot of the folks on the call may be familiar with them. Micro-internships are short-term professional projects completed by these career launchers or relaunchers as a way to demonstrate skills and explore career paths and build relationships and build their resume, and really complements the learning that's taking place through programs like ShiftUp. They tend to require between 10 and 30 hours of work, tend to, again, be short-term and drive real value. So for example, asking a ShiftUp participant to complete a website security review, they're not going in and messing with your core code base. They're not doing something that's high stakes, but instead you're having someone go in and do the analysis, applying what they've learned through the ShiftUp program to give you feedback. And not only is that providing value for someone that needs to do a quick update or review of their website security, but you're also able to assess that individual and see them in action. That when Jeff, the ShiftUp student, helps with an application security review or an IT Helpdesk support project, not only is Jeff providing the value from the work itself, but you're seeing, does Jeff have the skills to make him someone who we want to recruit and potentially hire? Not just the hard skills, but also those core skills, the communication, problem solving, attention to detail, etc. You're seeing those firsthand. So again, it provides those two very, very discrete value propositions. One for someone on the IT Helpdesk team or the cybersecurity team. Here's a way to get help on one of those 5, 10, 20-hour projects they don't have time for, but would be incredibly valuable. And two, it's a way to identify, engage, and assess someone who could be that future hire. And again, these are just a few examples of the projects. We have a whole series crafted specifically to the ShiftUp curriculum around this. With that, I'll turn it back over to Ray.
Thank you. I'm cognizant of time, so I'm going to try to go through these two pretty quickly here, but they are important. Leave a few minutes as we can for questions. So there's a few things. As I mentioned, there are two different opportunities here. One is just the talent pipeline. These are for new hires, right? For those who are sort of entry level and you want to hire them. In terms of requirements, again, there are no placement fees for here. We will send candidate materials to recruiters on your team. That being said, preference is given to employers who are, partners in one of the following capacities, right? So this means, you're setting up micro-internships on Parker Dewey if you're not already on, right? If you are, fantastic. If you are able and willing, and this will certainly prove, give dividends to you through this project, would be to briefly review and comment on the curriculum, right? Basically, essentially become part of the employer advisory board for this project and or for ShiftUp moreover. Encouraging employee service opportunities, right? If there are employees at your company that are looking for service, they could mentor, they could be guest speakers, they could sort of help for some of the new students making career changes. We like to do field trips from time to time virtually, right? To kind of understand what your company culture is like. So those could be a lot of fun, and we can get them from senior level people as well as more mid-level. And then finally, right, some employers have committed. They've worked with us closely and they've committed to interview successful grads. We understand that may not be an ask that's available for every employer that you can commit to up front, but if you can, more power, that's fantastic, and we can prioritize your company in this process. And then in terms of upskilling talent already at your company, right, to be crystal clear on this is up to a $500,000 value, because these programs are generally $5,000 per program. And you have the ability to train up to 100 employees per company during work hours, and that's first come, first serve. So that is just one note, is that you do need the flip side of this is that you do need to provide your employees who are participating the ability to study during the day. So that is one piece there. But other than that, those businesses that are eligible for the upskilling opportunities, these do need to have an office in New Jersey and have a New Jersey business registration certificate. That is the big piece here. Other than that, there are some additional pieces, but are relatively small. Can't have back taxes owed. The employees who are going to participate do need to be citizens or with green cards, and they do need to be up to date on their selected service registration. There are a couple other, things that we would need to just confirm with you, and that would go, hand in hand with the government agency who's doing the sponsoring. We will help walk you through that process. We will be your partner through that process. It's relatively quick, relatively painless. We try to handle as much as we can on our side. So from there, you can email me. Yep.
So just to be clear, for the upskilling, it has to be a company that's doing business in New Jersey. So a New Jersey presence for the upskilling. For the talent pipeline, there is no requirement tied to New Jersey.
That's correct. Correct. Yep.
Great.
All right. And the next steps, and then we'll leave the last 5 minutes here. So again, we are open and welcoming a number of priority partners. So please do reach out to me. My email is ray@shiftup.tech. Send me a message, basically a few quick steps just to email me. Number one. 2, to schedule a one-on-one call with us. That will keep it brief, but we'll be able to give you a chance to answer questions in detail for you and to help get you set up. And then if you are just interested in the talent pipeline, then the only thing would be just to complete any commitment that you set with us in terms of if you decide that some of your employees may be interested to be a guest speaker or to mentor, those sorts of things, or to help quickly review the curriculum with us and give your feedback, anything else along those lines. And that's it in terms of if you're just interested in the talent pipeline. If you are interested in upskilling, there will be a few more steps. We need to finalize paperwork. We need to make sure we select employees who will be a good fit for the program, and then confirm that with a government sponsor, and then begin training.
And in both cases, just to be clear, this is designed to be easy. This is designed to be simple. It's designed to be what's essentially a free option, whether it's around the talent pipeline or the upskilling. And that's one of the things that's most exciting about this, is it's giving you a ton of opportunity. I also strongly urge you to connect with Ray and his team with regard to some of the needs you have in those 4 big areas that he highlighted below, or I should say earlier, because I know all of the curriculum is designed to address some of those big areas where there's huge demand for talent. But certainly happy to make sure that within those buckets, they're hitting the specific needs that you have within your organization.
Absolutely.
So should we
Jeffrey,
open up?
Oh, go
ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we only got a few minutes. So
If you have questions, please put them in the chat.
Yep.
Where exactly do micro-internship fit in the ShiftUp process? Are learners doing them right after training, or is this experience they're getting as they're learning?
Yep, great question, Danielle. So essentially, as they go through, for new candidates, for new trainees, throughout the process, they're doing a combination of labs, exam preparation, core curriculum itself. The micro-internship comes after they've completed their certification, but it's still part of our overall program. So they'll go through the program, they'll learn, they'll do labs, they'll do all that, study for their certification, earn their certification, and then do the micro-internship right thereafter.
And they're still getting coaching and support from the ShiftUp team as they're completing these projects. And one of the things that's also exciting about it is all of those insights can be used to influence future training within ShiftUp if there's any gaps or areas where there's particularly strong strengths.
For upskilling existing talent, imagine those are on-site projects. For talent pipeline, are those also on-site? So for the upskilling existing talent, we are happy to coordinate with you, obviously, on that. So we can, like you said, those certainly can be on-site if you wish. Those can be entirely virtual. For the talent pipeline, those are generally speaking virtual projects, and those will be through the Parker Dewey platform.
Correct. So if your company is one where most of your talent is remote because of COVID or whatnot, it's not a problem at all, except that the company needs to have a presence in New Jersey and that employee needs to be a New Jersey resident. Correct, Ray? For the upskilling?
Yes. I mean, yes, I'm correct. They need to be do business in New Jersey and have a registration license there. I will have to confirm on the second question. I'm about 80% sure with what you just said.
Great. Any other questions? Look how good we were, finishing it in exactly 30 minutes, even with Q&A.
So I'm going to put this back on the screen one more time. Thanks, everybody. Again, my email is, let me just put it out to everybody, to everyone, ray@shiftup.tech. Look forward to hearing from you. We'd love to get you set up and have you take advantage of this. This is a really awesome opportunity, and we look forward to having more employers understand that this is out there and work with us. So.
And as someone who grew up in New Jersey, thanks so much for everything you're doing for the state.
Yep, absolutely.
Have a great rest of the week, everyone. And with that, this concludes the webinar.
Thank you.